Cosmol Electronics is proud to present this webcast, Zero Emission Solutions in the Emergency Vehicle Industry. Cosmol Electronics is a leading manufacturer of innovative electrical solutions engineered to enhance the reliability and efficiency of emergency vehicles. With decades of expertise in the industry, Cosmol has become a trusted name known for producing high-quality, dependable, and durable products proudly manufactured in the USA that meet the unique demands of emergency responders. With a robust product offering that includes battery chargers, auto ejects, inverter charges, pumps, indicators, solar panels, remote controls, dashboard accessories, and zero-emission solutions, Cosmol focuses on ensuring vehicles are always energized and ready when seconds count, making it a staple in the emergency vehicle industry. Just a few housekeeping notes for you before we get started. This presentation is both live and interactive, and you can ask questions at any time by clicking in the Ask a Question widget in the presentation window. Type your question in and then click the Send button. We'll ask your question during the Q&A portion at the end of the webcast. Please enter any technical support questions also through the Q&A, and they will be handled quickly by a member of our technical support team. Also, if you're running pop-up blocking software, you'll need to disable it to view this webcast. In addition, it's recommended that you close all other applications for better performance. For your convenience, this webcast will be available on demand within 24 hours of this live event. A reminder email message will be sent to all registrants with a link to the archive. It will also be archived at fireapparatusmagazine.com/webcasts. A certificate of attendance will be sent to everyone watching today and will reflect your time in session. If you need a certificate for on-demand viewing, please go to fireapparatusmagazine.com/certificates and enter your information. The on-demand certificates will be emailed on Friday. Now to introduce our speakers. With almost 30 years in the emergency vehicle industry, Danny Graham is the current Director of Sales at Cosmol Electronics, bringing a wealth of experience and industry knowledge to his role. His extensive experience allows him to work closely with OEMs, dealers, and end users, ensuring that Cosmol Electronics continues to deliver exceptional products and services to its customers. Danny's deep understanding of the industry and his strategic leadership are integral to driving the company's success and growth. Rick Chiavichien is the Eastern Regional Sales Manager at Cosmol Electronics, where he serves OEMs, dealers, and suppliers across the U.S. Atlantic Coast region. With over 25 years of experience in the emergency vehicle industry and as a former nationally registered paramedic, Rick brings a wealth of expertise to Cosmol Electronics. His extensive background and deep industry knowledge are vital to Cosmol's growth and success in the emergency vehicle sector. Now let's turn it over to our speakers.
Thank you, Jonathan. Good morning to some and good afternoon to the rest of the group. Thank you for attending today with Rick and myself. We are going to get started here. So the purpose of this presentation, we're going to discuss the importance of reducing emissions and increasing efficiency in emergency vehicles to meet modern operational demands. How Freedom eGEN, a generator replacement system, powers essential tools and electronics without the noise and pollution of traditional generators. The benefits of ZeroRPM, an automatic idle mitigation system that provides power and climate control when the engine is off. Key differences between the manual and automatic power solutions engineered to meet different needs in emergency scenarios, and how the Freedom eGEN and the ZeroRPM system enhance operational effectiveness, save costs, and environmental sustainability in emergency responders. So engine off, power on. When it comes to powering your tools and ensuring comfort to the job, both solutions and engineering are engineered to deliver with its own unique way. Freedom eGEN, the Freedom eGEN system is an alternative power solution or generator replacement is what we like to say. The ZeroRPM idle mitigation system or vehicle hybridization. Zero emission solution categories, as we talked about, the Freedom eGEN. The system provides energy for the vehicle functions using lithium-ion batteries, reducing reliance on generators. We'll talk about that here in a few minutes when we go through the single ones individually. And the idle mitigation system solution eliminates unnecessary idling while maintaining power for the HVAC and onboard equipment in ambulances, fire trucks, and other emergency vehicles. Alternative power solutions, starting with the Freedom eGEN. The key features of the system: lithium-ion battery-based system, provides stable AC and DC power for vehicles, loads, including HVAC, medical equipment, and other tools. Utilizing the Freedom eGEN system on an ambulance or a fire truck to replace a generator that you would normally have on, that you would have to start the generator to be able to power certain items on the vehicle. The Freedom eGEN will be able to take the place of that, utilizing lithium-ion batteries, a Freedom XC inverter charger, and possibly solar panels and other items that can go along in the system to run all those items instead of having to use a generator. Multiple charging sources. So the lithium-ion batteries are separate from your lead-acid batteries that are the starting batteries for the vehicle. So they're capable of recharging via the engine alternator, the shore power, or solar power, which is a trickle charge. We have when the engine is on, the alternator will give power back to the batteries, give charge to the batteries, and charge them back up when you get to a certain state of charge in the usage. When you go back to the station and you plug the shore power in, the inverter charger then is energized and puts power into the lithium batteries and brings them back up to full state of charge then. The system also supports multiple voltage configurations. It's compatible with 12 volt, 24 volt, and 48 volt systems, reducing the need for additional hardware in vehicles. Benefits of using the Freedom eGEN in place of a generator: zero emissions during stationary operation. So while the vehicle is stopped and you have to utilize the generator to power tools or to power chargers to charge batteries for tools and things like that, or run different items, you are eliminating the generator noise and the pollution that is produced by the generator while utilizing the Freedom eGEN system, because it's quiet. There's no emissions from the gas because you're utilizing the lithium battery power and through the inverter charger. Extended operational time keeps the vehicle essential systems running for longer periods without requiring an engine restart. So you also don't have to stop when the gas runs out of the generator to put more gas in the generator. Improved comfort for operators. Quiet operation means fewer distraction and more focused working environment. You have a quieter environment for communication amongst the crew that's working. You have less emissions out for the crew that's on the outside of the vehicle, working outside if in a situation where you may have a command center set up, and reduce maintenance and generator fuel costs. Without having the generator on there, you don't have the costs of repairing the generator, adding fuel to it, and all that. So that's some of the benefits of having the Freedom eGEN on to replace the generator that you would normally be using to power different items on your vehicle. So the idle mitigation system from ZeroRPM, some of the key features: provides power without engine idling, supplies energy to maintain HVAC, the lighting, and essential vehicle operations when the engine is off. So different from the Freedom eGEN, where the Freedom eGEN can be running all the time, whether the vehicle is running or the vehicle is off. The idle mitigation system takes over the whole vehicle and shuts the vehicle down and runs everything on the truck and is as if the truck was running. It's configurable for energy storage ranging from 100 amp hours to 1,000 amp hours for different needs, which means that we will size the batteries on the vehicle to go with the needs that you have for that truck or that vehicle. Depending on what scene you're at. If you're at a scene for an hour and you want the vehicle to not idle for an hour, you size the batteries for that type of portion. If you want to have 3 hours of non-idle, then you would raise the size of the batteries up to a different amp hours, higher amp hours usage. Automatic climate control keeps the operator comfortable while using electric compressors, coolant pumps, and optional AC modules. The idle mitigation system, as I said, runs everything on the vehicle as if the vehicle is running. So therefore you have dash air running. Your air conditioner is still running through the same coolant pumps and everything, utilized by our own compressor that is ran and powered by the lithium batteries. That way there is no engine running, no emissions, and no noise. So you always have air conditioning to keep for the driver compartment cool, plus the compartment for, if it's an ambulance, it's the box on the back, or if it's a fire truck, you have a cool place for the firefighters to get back in the truck to cool off during a scene. Modular design for scalability. We support additional energy modules as needed for extended use. So we have different modules. We have one all-in-one piece. We have separate pieces that you can put the battery in one compartment and the air conditioner in another compartment, to whatever makes it to fit the vehicle that you want to put it in. Some of the key benefits from idle mitigation: it reduces emissions and environmental impact, eliminates CO2 and NOx emissions, nitrous oxide emissions generated by idling. So one of the things I wanted to go over was a little data. So if you have 4 hours of idling per an 8-hour shift, you would waste 1 gallon of fuel per hour. If you times that by 350 days per year, 2 shifts per day, about 5 years of idling equals about 14,000 gallons of fuel consumed, which produces 22 pounds of CO2 for a diesel engine, which comes to 154 tons of CO2 that is putting into the atmosphere. And that's just one vehicle. So we lower those emissions by not idling the vehicle. Lower the fuel consumption and the operating costs. If a diesel engine burns 0.9 to 1.5 gallons per hour during idling, which is saved during the system being not on. You also reduce the costs of maintenance. It has to be serviced fewer times because the engine is not running. One of the worst things you can do for a vehicle is to let it sit and idle. Vehicles are made to be driven, and engines are made to be driven down the road, not just sitting and idling. So you have minimum wear and tear on the engine, which is the equivalent of 33 miles of driving per hour of idling. Every time you idle your vehicle for 1 hour, it's the same as driving your vehicle for 33 miles. That's some independent study documentation that we have. So some real world impact that we have on the system, where I was talking about the 4 hours or the 154 tons of CO2 put into the air. We got some data from an EPA website. The EPA website we did some calculations. So what does 154 metric tons of carbon dioxide look like? So for instance, the first one, it would be 33 gasoline powered passenger vehicles driven for 1 year equals 154 tons of carbon dioxide in the air. Miles driven by an average gasoline powered vehicle, 382,000 miles. One of the big ones, if you look all the way down to the bottom right-hand corner, 154 metric tons of carbon dioxide equals 18,732,968 of smartphones charged in a day or in a year. So that's a lot of, just to give you a little idea of what this is. Now, if you're cleaning up that, what does it take to clean up that 154 tons. If you look at the bottom, 2,546 tree seedlings grown for 10 years is what it takes to clean up that 154 tons of CO2 put into the air. Also, or 182 acres of forest. It'll take it 1 year to consume that 154 tons of CO2 put into the air by one vehicle. So hopefully that puts that into a little perspective of what engine idling does, and if generator use, and what the zero emissions campaign that we have going on is here to help with the ZeroRPM idle mitigation system, helping your vehicle and your crew be safe on the scene, have a comfortable spot to work in, and the emissions and stuff they don't have to breathe, and keeping the cleaning the environment. Jonathan? Now we go into the Q&A.
All right. We have some questions. First one is, what is the average cost of each solution?
So we'll start with the Freedom eGEN, because you can size the batteries as well. It could range anywhere from $4,000 to $10,000, depending on the size of the batteries and how much capacity you want to use for the vehicle that you're going to be using it on. It could be one battery, two batteries, 100 amp hours to 500 amp hours, depending on the usage that you want. So that will make the price determine then what it will be for that. The idle mitigation system is a little more entwined into the truck. It's more, it gets into the system of the vehicle. So it, with the air condition, the batteries, and the integration into the truck with the telemetrics and stuff, it usually runs around $30,000 per unit.
Okay. What kind of maintenance do these systems require?
So both being very similar using the lithium ion, there's not much maintenance at all as far as like you would have to maintain a generator. One thing they need to be is periodically charged to 100% on shoreline. It's very similar to charging your cell phone. Your cell phone battery goes down, comes back up. You don't want to leave it on. You want to be able to charge it like for a period of time, let it get to 100% state of charge on the batteries. That keeps them in a good, healthy working order in the batteries by doing that with the shoreline, versus just running around on the alternator and letting the alternator put charge into them.
Okay,
Danny,
we have
Jonathan, excuse me, Danny. So, can we explain the difference between our lithium-ion batteries versus something that you might find like in a Tesla?
Yes, please do.
Yes, so we are utilizing lithium iron phosphate batteries, which is not as volatile as a cobalt battery, which is what is used in the Teslas and other types of lithium. That's the reason you saw remember all the old Samsung phones catching on fire, and you couldn't take them on an airplane and stuff like that. Those had those kinds of batteries in them. So that's the difference of the two kind. The lithium iron phosphate, if we had a thermal runoff of any kind, the battery has a battery management system inside that automatically shuts the cells down and turns them off so that there is no thermal runoff and fire can happen.
Okay, we have a question. Do the OEM controls operate the heat and air in the system? So
in the idle mitigation system, what we utilize is a patented T that fits in the hood underneath with the engine. Whenever we shut the vehicle off, the patented T opens up, and then it automatically circulates everything in the truck as if the engine was running, utilizing our compressor. So the blend door that you have in the truck to set it to heat or to air actually controls it just the same as if the truck was running.
All right. How long does each solution last?
So just because they're lithium batteries, so you get, as you see your cell phone, the cell phone as an example again, the longer you have it, the less battery life you have. the normal setting of these lithium batteries, they lose about 20% capacity over 5 years, approximately. So they're designed really to last the lifetime of the vehicle once you put it on, because normally you turn a fire truck or an ambulance in after 5 years, but this will lengthen the life of that ambulance by a few more years by utilizing the system. So 7 years, 8 years, but every 5 years you'll lose about 20% of capacity in the lithium batteries.
All right, thank you. We we don't have any more questions. Do you want to wait a little bit, or do you want to
Yeah,
wrap
let's see
up?
if anybody else has any
Yeah,
other questions. I know we
yeah.
went through it a little fast, but this is so just to let everybody know, if you want further information on how the system works completely, we wanted to go over the key features and benefits today, but if you want to know how it works, what it takes to get something put on your vehicle or something like that, please contact your regional guy that's on the screen here. Find out where your state is, who your regional person is, give them a call, and they'd be happy to set up a meeting with you to go over each of the systems to be able to show you and show you how they work, show you some of the products and stuff like that.
Okay. We have another question. Can the system be retrofitted?
Yes. So each one of these systems can be retrofitted. Of course, the idle mitigation system is a little more intense because it's very integrated into the truck. So it takes a little longer if the truck, let's say an ambulance is already built. So it takes a little longer to integrate it in, to put it into the system after it's already built. But the Freedom eGEN side is not as intense if you're just replacing a generator. It should fit right in the same spot where the generator was. It just takes a little bit of wiring and the installation of the inverter charger and stuff.
Okay. We can wait a little bit longer if you'd like, see if anybody else has anything they want to add.
Sure. I can't see everybody's wheels turning. If
Hey, Danny,
I did want to ask if there's anybody out there, maybe if you want to just give a thumbs up. I don't know how many's on the call. Give a thumbs up if you are already using any of the ZeroRPM or any of the systems.
Hey, Danny, can we share with the audience what, like on the, especially on the fire side, what type of tools these things would be operate, especially on the eGEN side?
Yeah, so on the eGEN side, anything, the way it's sized, you'll size the battery power and the Freedom. You can utilize any of the 3 different inverter chargers we have: a 1,000, 2,000, or 3,000 watt. You would utilize the size of the inverter charger for the items that you're going to be powering. Anything that you would power off of the generator would be able to be powered off of the lithium batteries, depending on the size. Like if you just do a 100 amp hour battery, if your amperage draw from the items you're doing is 100 amps, you're going to get maybe 3/4 of an hour of use before you have to charge the battery back up. But if you have 400 amp hours of battery and your draw is 100 amps, you're going to get about 3 hours, 3.5 hours of usage out of the batteries before you have to charge them back up. And one thing is once you the way it's installed is once you start the truck to go back to the station or just whatever you're doing, the alternator puts charge back into the batteries so that you always have charge going back into the batteries. You can also put solar panels on the roof to help trickle charge and add extra charge into the batteries as they're out in the field while you're working.
We do have another question. What apparatus or chassis builders have used the system so far?
So right now, installation wise, Spartan is putting the ZeroRPM system on. You will probably see a sign called Eco Idle Tech from Spartan, or that's what they're doing from there. And then E1 is putting on the ZeroRPM system as well. There are several other bodybuilders that are utilizing the Spartan chassis, and they're putting the systems on. A lot of the dealers that are in that are Spartan or E1 dealers have been doing that. We've had systems put on by Horton, by AEV, by Rev Orlando, and then several other. We have our sister company is utilizing the system also in the work truck space. We're doing a lot of trucks with Penske right now. We've done a lot of trucks with a lot of energy companies, work truck wise.
Okay, we got another question. How far can a lithium battery be depleted versus flooded batteries?
So our batteries with the BMS in them are set to shut off when it gets to a certain point to protect the battery. So they at 20% or 15%, they will shut off so you don't damage the battery. But just like I said, just like the cell phone, if you're using a lead acid battery and it starts dying, you lose power. Whereas a lithium battery, you'll have 100% of power until it's dead. When it's dead, it just shuts off. If anybody's used a power drill or something, the minute the battery goes dead, the drill just shuts off. It doesn't lose power; it just shuts off. So
I think that's it, Jonathan.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you, Danny. Thank you, Rick. Thanks again to all of you for participating today and to our sponsor, Cosmo Electronics. This presentation will be archived at fireapparatusmagazine.com/webcast within 24 hours so you can share it with your colleagues. Thank you so much for attending, everyone. We hope to see you back for another webcast soon.
thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody.